You ever wondered what it was really like to be the wife of an ancient king? We see the portraits, the crowns, the opulent gowns, and think, wow, what a life. But behind the shimmering veil of royalty, their stories were often far more complex, filled with intrigue, heartbreak, and incredible resilience. Let's travel back in time, not to a famous queen you've heard of, but to a woman whose story is whispered in the forgotten corners of history. Let's call her Theodora of Ethel. Theodora wasn't born into a palace. She was the daughter of a minor nobleman, known more for her sharp wit and love of books than for her dowry. But fate, as it often does, had a strange plan. King Alaric, a ruler known for his ambition and volatile temper, saw her once at a court festival. He wasn't captivated by her beauty, but by the fire in her eyes when she debated a scholar, her arguments quick and clever. He saw not just a wife, but a mind. And in a kingdom built on shifting alliances, a sharp mind was a valuable asset. Their marriage was a political move, of course. Her family gained status, and Alaric gained a queen who could charm foreign envoys and spot a traitor's lie from a mile away. In the beginning, it was a partnership. They would spend long nights hunched over maps, Theodora pointing out strategic weaknesses in his battle plans that his generals had missed. She established trade routes, founded libraries, and the people, at first wary of their bookish queen, began to love her. They called her Theodora the Wise. But a king's court is a viper's nest. Jealousy is its own currency. The king's most trusted advisor, a grizzled old lord named Valerius, saw Theodora not as an asset but as a threat. He had whispered in the king's ear for decades, and now, a woman's voice was joining his, often contradicting him. He saw her influence as a weakness, a feminization of the court that would be their downfall. Valerius began to plant seeds of doubt. A quiet word here about a letter she received from her family. A fabricated rumor there about a private conversation she had with a foreign duke. He preyed on Alaric's deepest insecurity. His fear of being seen as weak, of being controlled. At first, the king dismissed it. This was his Theodora, his partner. But the whispers were like water, slowly, persistently eroding the stone of his trust. He started watching her. A lingering glance she shared with a courtier became a secret affair in his mind. A suggestion she made about a treaty was reframed by Valerius as an attempt to undermine his authority. The late-night strategy session stopped. The king's study door, once always open to her, was now firmly closed. The warmth in his eyes was replaced by a cold, watchful suspicion. Theodora felt the shift like a change in the season. The air grew cold. The man she had built a kingdom with now looked at her as if she were a stranger, an enemy within his own walls. She tried to talk to him, to break through the wall of silence, but her words were twisted and used against her. She was trapped. She was the queen, surrounded by luxury, yet more imprisoned than the lowest dungeon dweller. Her intellect, the very thing that had drawn the king to her, had become the reason for her downfall. The final devastating blow came during a feast. A visiting prince, an old friend of Theodora's family, toasted to her health and wisdom, praising her for the kingdom's prosperity. In King Alaric's poisoned mind, inflamed by Valerius's constant whispers, this public praise wasn't an honor. It was a declaration, a sign that others saw her, not him, as the true power. That night he confronted her. There was no trial, no evidence, just a torrent of accusations fueled by years of cultivated paranoia. He banished her, not to a comfortable exile, but to a remote, windswept convent on the kingdom's furthest edge. He stripped her of her title, her children, her name. She was no longer Theodora the Wise. She was just a forgotten woman. Music shifts to a more somber, reflective tone. And that, you might think, is the end of her story. A tragic tale of a brilliant woman destroyed by a fragile male ego, but it's not. In the quiet solitude of the convent, Theodora found a different kind of power. Freed from the politics of the court, she poured her energy into her first love, knowledge. She taught, she wrote, she chronicled the history she had lived. Her writings, smuggled out by loyal nuns, became influential texts on statecraft, philosophy, and history. Years later, King Alaric's kingdom, now run solely by his own judgment and the poor advice of men like Valerius, began to crumble. Defeated in battle and facing a rebellion, the aging king finally understood his catastrophic mistake. He had silenced the one voice that could have saved him. His legacy was one of failure. Meanwhile, Theodora's legacy, once whispered only in the palace, was now being studied and debated in universities across the continent. She never wore a crown again, but her influence, her wisdom, outlasted his reign, his kingdom, and even his name. Her story reminds us that true power isn't always found on a throne. Sometimes it's found in a quiet room with just a pen, some paper, and a will that refuses to be broken.